Yo, bro, wanna collab? The most dreaded words anyone ever gets in their DMs, emails, whatever. Um, I feel like something to talk about if you're an artist and you're trying to like build your thing is the importance of not sounding like a sociopath. Um, I know personally, I know for a fact that there have been moments in my career where I basically was given a way forward just because my emails made me sound like I wasn't hiding in a murder basement, um, trying to entrap people, which is honestly what a lot of DMs I get are like. They're scary. You're just like, what? Um, and I know most of you aren't guilty of that level of just horror, um, but I do think that when people think about reaching out, especially to someone where they're going to make an ask or to someone where they, they're going to kind of like hopefully build a relationship with someone they don't know, um, there's a lot of like talk about like bringing value to people, which just makes me cringe. It's like marketing 101 applied to everyday like conversations. And so similarly, like when I get an email where someone's like, I want to know how I can bring value to you, I just run screaming. Because the first way you can bring value to someone is by writing an email that is thoughtful, makes it easier for me to understand who you are, how I can help you, maybe how you can help me. But honestly, you're bringing value to someone by taking the time to write a thoughtful, coherent email. I mean, that's the first way. If you're not willing to do that, then I don't care if you're sitting on a pot of gold. You are not helping that person's day, and I think it's just like the things that work for me and that I think have worked for me both as someone who gets DMs or emails and someone who has sent them is authenticity. Speak to the person as yourself, not as the person that you think you need to be to get something from the other person, because that's manipulative. And and be clear. Think about how easy it will be for the other person to read your email and understand what's really going on. So a lot of the times, like, I'll get questions about like, oh, I want to reach out to this blog, should I like mention that I have a song with 5 million streams, or is that like bragging? And it's like, of course you should mention it. How obnoxious is it if you're getting an email from an artist saying, I would love you to write about, my new song, and they have to do the work of finding out, oh, that by the way, you have a track record and you've done something. So it's not being egocentric or selfish to sort of like put in accolades into an email if those things are going to be relevant to the other person's decision, right? It's actually thoughtful. On the other hand, if you inflate yourself and if you are kind of reaching, then it's the other person's responsibility to then decode what about your email is sort of reliable and what's kind of just fluff. I would much rather get an email from someone saying, look, I'm brand new, like I haven't done anything, but I really believe in this music, than someone who's sort of trying to front like a bunch of bot streams, are real or something, obviously. But I think that the more common thing is the flip side, where people they don't want to mention, oh, I was just on tour with this cool artist, or I had a sync in this thing, because they feel like it's, if it's relevant to the conversation, if you're reaching out to an A&R or a blogger or a playlist or whatever, or a producer, they're going to want to know what the bullet points are, basically, like what your one sheet is. And so it's about being thoughtful. It's not about coming in and fronting like you're the one who's gonna like make this person's life great. If you're asking for a favor, just ask for what you want, and just be honest, so that the other person can make a quick and rational decision about whether it makes sense to meet you halfway. And if you do think that there's a way you could help someone, say that too, but only if you actually think that there is. So I think, all this stuff swirling around has to be combined too with like a well-written email. And that doesn't mean um, you have to be, Virginia Woolf. It just means that you need to reread your email and make sure that if you weren't you, if you were someone who knew nothing about you or your project or whatever, if you would get a sense of who you are, what you're up to, what you want, and how that other person can help you do it. Or what you think you might be able to, bring to the table. And yeah, man, I mean, I think it's like a lot of people I know, they're really sociable, like nice, authentic, creative people, and they kind of freeze up when they're writing an email and they come off like some weirdo that they're not. If you are a weirdo, good for you. Then be a weirdo in your emails, right? Like you just want to present something real to the person so they can have a real response. One of the things I think people get hung up on is they're afraid that if they don't check certain boxes, the other person isn't going to give them the time of day. And the problem with that thinking is that might be true, but you don't actually know what boxes you're going to tick. So you have to just be yourself, present the truth in a clear and sort of accurate and helpful way. And then also, without a presumption that you're going to get anything out of the exchange or build any kind of relationship, but just do that and hope for the best. And then at least you can look at yourself in the mirror and know that you've been going around in the world presenting yourself accurately. And so that people are going to walk away from that exchange, even if they ignore your email. If they've read it, they're going to walk away with a sense that you are like reasonably cool person. And so that if you reach out again, they're not going to be doubly weirded out. They're just going to be, at worst sort of waiting for the right moment, right, to step in and whatever. So yeah, emails, DMs, texts, whatever your, WhatsApps, Snapchats, like whatever your form of communication. If you're doing something in a kind of way where you're reaching out to someone new and there's something that they can do for you, like be thoughtful, be mindful of if you are making their morning harder or easier or neutral, right, with this email. And the value that you'll bring starts with, is it a good email? Is it a good DM? For me, like my favorite ones are people who reach out and say, hey, I've been following you for a while. Like I really like your stuff. This is a little bit about me. I'd love to just like chat and, get to know you a bit better and maybe we could work together. I don't know if you're down for that. Something like that, where it's just like, oh, you're like a normal person that I might meet and chat at with the bar or in the studio or on a session. Like that's all I'm looking for. And generally, like I will always, if the person has spent a little bit of time being genuine or authentic, like reach back out. And yeah, so good luck with your emails.